Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Well, happy Friday night. I learned the hard way this week that life is both short and very fast. Short I can live with, but fast has been the big problem for me these last couple of weeks, right? I love everything that I did this past week. Even when I had the drama of accidentally deleting a file, I learned a lot of technical skills, how to manipulate the software that we're using for our university. That was not a big loss. The big loss was how fast everything had to happen in terms of making sure that students didn't panic and all that. I love my art project, obviously. My drive into the campus is kind of beautiful as well. I have to drive through Camelback Mountain and all that. The commute's not the end of the world. The fact that I have to often go 10 above the speed limit to make it on time is a problem, though. So let's clarify. The commute is nice. The time constraint is not. I loved, even when my students were being unreasonable with me, I loved that I get to practice all those soft skills, right? The fact that oftentimes I don't have time to think it through of how to deal with difficult students is what I dislike, right? What I really, Peter, dislike is how fast all that stuff has to happen, right? Which is what gets me back to my art again. I want to free myself from having to cram all that, right? If I had a little bit more financial resources, maybe I wouldn't necessarily quit any of these jobs, but I could have a lot of things taken care of so that I could be more effective at my job, right? Certainly I could live closer to campus. I could outsource a number of things, right? I could eat out more, for example. You get the idea, right? I probably wouldn't change anything about my career if tomorrow I wake up and I see one of my medals goes up to the moon, right? And I recently got a silicone mold for the Buddha, and it was about to wear out anyway, so I decided for a couple last pours to see how well zinc would do in them. And it poured okay, actually, except that it totally fried the mold. Right? I wouldn't want to do that to a brand new one, because you couldn't get too many pours out of it. And this is actually so Rotometals sells BB shots that were imperfect, and they come in really nice bags too, that were imperfect, of 94% bismuth, 6% tin, and they pour a lot better, right? Pouring pure bismuth has a tendency to have cracks and all that, and the only problem is that it tends to the bottom of it tends to get all messy and all that, so then you gotta sand a little bit and all that. I just ordered another 100 pounds of pure bismuth, and I'm really excited because I recently got this cast iron skull mode, and I'm thinking of pouring bismuth in here and at the right moment pull it out so that it doesn't completely freeze over, and get crystals in here. I hope to try copper again at some point. Copper has a much higher melting point than zinc, obviously. The other thing I might do that will limit the high temperatures is there are alloys of copper and zinc that have a considerably lower melting point, and because pouring 1,000-degree molten copper is just very challenging, right, without the right gear. And I haven't done thallium yet. I hope to. Just going by what I see on videos, it's really messy and it's really toxic, of course, right? But I love the way how it forms toning, right? It almost doesn't look like metal when it's toned, and I have a vacuum seal device. Once it's toned up, I would vacuum seal it so that you don't have to touch it, obviously. Anyways, hopefully one of these days something will happen with my art to allow for... Again, you know, when I was a kid, I used to love to watch game shows. Recently, Bob Barker passed away, unfortunately, but when Bob Barker would ask the contestants what they would do if they won all this money, a lot of people would say they would quit their jobs. I think I was in 8th grade at the time, and I remember thinking to myself, why would you want to do that? If I won $1 million, it would allow me to more easily do my job, right? I could drive a more reliable car to my job, not have to worry about, is my car going to break down on the way to work today? I could eat out more so I wouldn't have to spend time and energy thinking about my food. I could focus more on my job. I could live closer to work, right? I mean, I often joke the only time in my life I've ever been able to live close to work was when I lived in the parking lot at work in my car, right? That's unfortunate, right? Which I have done before, but it saved a lot of time. It wasn't a complete loss. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.